The pen clicked against the mahogany desk, 3 times while Michael read the letter aloud, then twice more before he spoke. Your generosity changed my daughter's life. She starts college this fall because of your foundation. I don't have words to... That's good. He signed the check without reading the amount. The pen clicked again. Michael placed another document on the desk. A second letter, a second check. His hand moved towards his phone, the screen dark against the polished wood. His fingers hovered there, not quite touching, then returned to the pen. There's an option to meet the beneficiaries, Michael said. If you'd like to attend the scholarship ceremony next month. Anything else? Another thank you letter arrived this morning. I can forward. Thank you, Michael. Michael collected the signed documents into a folder. He was still explaining something about quarterly reports when he reached the door. The words continued for a moment after he left. Then the office was quiet except for traffic sounds 47 floors below. He touched the phone screen. Didn't unlock it. Set it down. The windows showed the city in clean afternoon light. He stood, walked to the glass, counted the buildings he could see clearly, got to 47, stopped. The private dining room smelled like rosemary. Bread in a basket between them, untouched except by the waiter who refilled it twice. The Foundation's latest initiative is remarkable. Robert Martinez cut his salmon into precise squares. You've changed the game for urban education reform. The team deserves recognition. Still, your leadership... Robert gestured with his fork. I'm not seeing you at events like I used to. He adjusted his knife so it aligned with the edge of his plate. The water glass was full. He hadn't touched it. The waiter refilled it anyway. How are the Q3 numbers looking? Robert set down his fork. Good. Strong. But I was asking about you. Margaret was saying she hasn't seen you since... When was it? June? The team's doing excellent work. That's not what I... Robert picked up his fork again. Are you dating anyone? Margaret has a colleague, very intelligent, works in... How's the implementation timeline on the new metrics? Robert's expression shifted. Something moved behind his eyes, then settled. He picked up the conversation about quarterly projections. The salmon on his plate was half gone. The salmon on the other plate had 4 bites removed, the pieces cut but not eaten. The lunch ended 20 minutes early. Robert made an excuse about a conference call. They shook hands in the lobby. The handshake lasted the exact appropriate amount of time. The penthouse lights were off except for the ambient glow from the city. He removed his jacket in the entryway, draped it over the chair, then walked back to hang it properly in the closet. The kitchen was dark. He opened the refrigerator. Catered meals in glass containers. Labels from 3 days ago. He closed the door without removing anything. The living room windows showed 70 square miles of city lights. He stood at the glass, started counting them. 1, 2, 3. The numbers climbed. 23, 24. His reflection was faint in the window. 43, 44. He stopped at 47. He moved to the study, sat in the leather chair. The cushion made a sound as it compressed. He stood immediately. The couch in the living room was different from the one in the study. He sat there, instead. His hand found the remote control on the side table. He held it, thumb near the power button, set it down. Back at the window, same position as before. The lights hadn't changed. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He didn't remove it. His footsteps on the marble were loud. He walked to the bedroom, stopped in the doorway, returned to the living room. The couch was still there. The windows still showed the same lights. He counted 4 rooms visible from where he stood. In each one, nothing required his presence. The laptop screen glowed blue in the dark. 10:15, according to the clock in the corner. The quarterly impact report was 78 pages. He opened it, scrolled to the executive summary, graphs showing reach, percentages showing growth, statistics about program expansion. He scrolled to page 4, then page 7. His eyes moved across the words without stopping. Page 12 had a section titled Beneficiary Testimonials. He scrolled past it, kept scrolling. Charts, data tables, projected outcomes. An email notification appeared in the corner. New message. Thank you letter, scholarship recipient. His cursor moved to it, hovered over the attachment icon. The preview showed the first line. I'm writing to express my deepest gratitude for... He closed the email. Didn't delete it, just closed it. Back to the report, page 22 now. He'd skipped 10 pages without noticing. The data blurred. He scrolled up, back to page 12, past the testimonials again, continued to page 15. His cursor moved back to the email tab. The notification was still there. He clicked it. The attachment icon was small. One click would open it. His hand was steady on the mouse. He clicked delete. The report was still open, page 15. He closed the laptop without saving his place. The room went dark except for ambient light from the city. The nightstand clock read 10:47, chapter 2. Construction on 5th. We'll need to reroute. He checked his watch. 9:21. The meeting was at 10:02, 39-minute delay. How long? 20 minutes, maybe 25. The car moved into the detour. Buildings he didn't usually pass, a school, a dry cleaner, a nursing home with a bench outside, trees planted in a row behind it, elderly people moving slowly toward the entrance, some with walkers, some alone. The car stopped at a red light. He checked his watch again. 9:23. Pull over here. Sir? I'll walk. The driver looked at him in the rearview mirror. Where should I wait? He gestured vaguely at the street ahead. Around? The morning air was cold, sharp. The sound of jackhammers from 2 blocks away created a rhythm under the traffic noise. Diesel exhaust drifted from the construction site. He walked toward the bench area, telling himself it was just a few minutes, just stretching his legs. The bench was wood, worn smooth in places. He sat on the right side. There was space. A child was already sitting on the left side. Her backpack was placed precisely between her feet. Both hands held the straps. Are you waiting for someone too? He looked at her, 7, maybe 8 years old. Dark hair pulled back. A jacket that was clean, but the cuffs were frayed. Yes. She nodded. Didn't look at him when she spoke. My grandfather comes here. He works, but he visits when he can. His favorite book is the one about the man who builds the boat. Do you know it? She described the cover, blue and white, a boat on water. She explained the plot, the parts her grandfather liked best, why he read it 3 times. He listened. Didn't ask questions. His watch showed 9:42. That bird. She pointed at a telephone wire. That's a mourning dove. Grandfather taught me. They sound sad, but they're not actually sad. They just sound that way. The bird was gray, small. It flew away as she pointed. Grandfather is busy at work, but he comes when he can. He promised. He shifted position on the bench. The wood was hard under him. His watch showed 9:47. Do you like birds? I don't know. There are lots of kinds. Grandfather showed me a book with pictures. 73 different ones in this state. I counted. She listed several types. Their colors, their sounds, where they nest. Her voice was steady, matter of fact. She wasn't asking him to respond. His watch showed 9:52. That one's a sparrow. They eat seeds mostly. You can tell because a car pulled into the parking lot. She stopped mid-sentence, looked up. A woman got out, waved at her. Bye. The child stood, grabbed her backpack, walked away, didn't look back. The woman helped her into the car. They drove away. He remained on the bench. His watch showed 9:55. Then 9:58. The construction noise continued. A few more people entered the nursing home. An old man with a cane. A woman in scrubs. He stood, walked to where his driver was parked 3 blocks away. The leather seat was cold. He got in without speaking. Everything okay, sir? 3 seconds passed. Traffic moved around them. Fine. Where to? 4 seconds this time. A truck passed. Its brakes hissed. Office. The driver merged into traffic. You're about 40 minutes late for the meeting. Michael called twice. He nodded. Didn't say anything else. The city passed outside the window. Buildings. People. Traffic lights. They stopped at an intersection. A woman crossed with a stroller. A man on a phone. The light changed. They arrived at the office at 10:23. Michael was waiting in the lobby, tablet in hand, expression carefully neutral. I know, I'm late. He walked past before Michael could speak. The elevator doors closed. Michael wasn't inside. Above him, the numbers climbed. 12, 13, 14. The elevator was silent, except for the mechanical hum. 23, 24. He watched the numbers instead of his reflection in the polished doors. 47. Chapter 3. Take the alternate route this morning. The driver nodded. Didn't ask which alternate route. The car turned left instead of right. They arrived at the nursing home at 9:38. The bench was visible from the street. The child was already sitting there, same position as before. Her backpack between her feet. He got out, told the driver nothing, walked to the bench. She didn't show surprise when he sat down, just began talking. So the assignment is about family recipes. Grandfather taught me to count in Italian, for cooking. You measure things with numbers. She demonstrated. Uno, due, tre. Her pronunciation was careful, deliberate. Quattro, cinque, sei. The morning was colder than last time. He buttoned his coat. Sette, otto, nove, dieci. She continued to 20. The numbers came faster as she gained confidence. At diciotto, she hesitated. Diciotto. What? Diciotto. He repeated it with the correct emphasis. Diciotto. She smiled briefly. Diciannove, venti. She started over from uno, got all the way to venti without mistakes this time. A few people entered the nursing home. 2 nurses together, talking about a schedule change. An elderly woman with a walker, moving slowly. Do you know other languages? Some. She nodded. Accepted this without asking which ones. Grandfather knows 3, Italian, English, and some Spanish. He said he'd teach me Spanish next. The car pulled into the lot at 9:57. She stood immediately. Bye. Gone before he could respond. Not that he was going to. He returned on Thursday. 9:38 again. She was there first again. The project is due Friday. She pulled out a notebook covered in stickers. I have to draw our house and write about the people who live there. She showed him the drawing. A small house. 3 windows, a tree beside it. Her handwriting was careful, the letters slightly uneven. The wind picked up, cold air moved across the bench. He buttoned his coat higher, 9:51, according to his watch. Grandfather promised to take me to the botanical garden when he's less busy. There's a pond there with ducks, real ducks, not park ducks, and flowers in a greenhouse that bloom in winter. Grandfather said we'd see. She listed the types of flowers, orchids, lilies, something else with a name he didn't catch. She described the colors, the path around the pond, the wooden gazebo where you could sit and watch the water. We'll see the bridge. It's stone, very old, and there's a tree that's 200 years old. Grandfather said, I could touch it if I'm gentle. The wind was stronger now. His fingers were stiffening. He flexed them. He said maybe in spring, when it's warmer, we'll pack a lunch and spend the whole day. I'll show him my favorite spots. There's a bench by the water where people feed the birds. We'll sit there. She shifted position on the bench. 9:51 became 10:02. His back was starting to hurt. The wooden slats pressed into his spine. He shifted position. Are you cold? I'm fine. She opened her lunchbox, took out a piece of fruit, cut it in half with a plastic knife, offered half to him. He hesitated, then took it. They ate without speaking. 47 seconds of silence. Just chewing, the wind, distant traffic. She brushed crumbs off the bench carefully. Small, deliberate movements. He watched her hands. When she finished, he brushed the remaining crumbs from his side, mirroring her carefulness. At 10:08, his back spasmed. A sharp point of pain near his spine. He went very still for 5 seconds. Breathed carefully. Do you need to leave? No. The car arrived at 10:12, late today. The child stood. Sorry for making you wait, Mom. The woman glanced at him. He stood slowly. His back was stiff. The woman watched him stand, then looked away. Inside the nursing home, the receptionist was filing paperwork. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. She glanced out the window. The man and child were still on the bench. She returned to her filing. 3 minutes later, she glanced again. Still there. She made a note on her clipboard. Small handwriting in the margin. Another staff member walked past. What are you writing? Nothing important. Both of them looked out the window. The man was shifting position. The child was talking. They watched for a moment, then returned to work. Tuesday. Light rain starting as he sat down. The child was already there. Grandfather says the botanical garden has a special section for medicinal plants. Plants that can heal things. He knows which ones because his mother taught him. The rain increased from light to steady. She had a small umbrella in her backpack. Pulled it out, but didn't open it yet. There's chamomile for sleep, and something else for headaches. I forgot the name. Rain intensified. She opened the umbrella, held it over herself only. The canopy was small, cartoon characters printed on the nylon. He remained in the rain, his coat getting wet. Grandfather's mother had a garden, a real one, in the ground. She grew herbs and vegetables. Grandfather said, without speaking, without asking, she shifted the umbrella to cover both of them. This required moving 6 inches closer. He didn't refuse. Shifted slightly toward the coverage. They were 8 inches apart now. The rain drummed on the nylon above them, steady rhythm. The sound created a small, private space. Separate from the parking lot, the nursing home, the street beyond. Her voice was quieter under the umbrella. She grew tomatoes, big red ones, and basil. Grandfather said the smell was everywhere. Their breath was visible in the cold. 2 small clouds, mixing in the space between them. The heat from 2 people under a small umbrella made the air warmer, closer. He could smell her shampoo, something fruity. His coat was wet where the umbrella didn't reach. His shoes were getting soaked. The rain continued. 6 minutes under the umbrella. She kept talking, her voice creating a rhythm with the rain. He listened, aware of the proximity, the shared shelter, the fact that his car was 3 blocks away and dry. The rain lessened at 9:54, but didn't stop. They remained under the umbrella. She pointed at something across the street, a bird on a wire. He leaned slightly to see what she was pointing at. The umbrella tilted with her movement. He adjusted his position to stay under coverage. Physical coordination required to maintain the shelter. The rain stopped at 9:58. She didn't close the umbrella immediately. They sat under it for another 30 seconds. Then she collapsed it, the sound of wet nylon folding. The private space disappeared. They resumed their previous distance. Not the original 2 feet, but more than 8 inches. Somewhere in the middle. The car arrived. She left. He sat on the wet bench another 4 minutes, then walked to his car. His assistant had called during the umbrella scene. The phone buzzed in his pocket, visible but ignored. The call went to voicemail. Chapter 4. Michael called at 9:15. The caller ID showed on the car's dashboard screen. He didn't answer. "Sir, you have the 9:30 meeting. Should I take the usual route?" The driver understood. The usual route meant the nursing home route now. They arrived at 9:38. The phone buzzed in his coat pocket at 9:44. Michael again. The child was talking about her weekend, something about a school fair. "Do you need to get that?" "No." The phone buzzed again at 9:47. A text this time, the vibration pattern different. Then another at 9:51. And another at 9:53. The child glanced at his pocket when it buzzed the fourth time. Didn't comment. He pulled the phone out without looking at the screen, switched it to silent, put it back in his pocket. "And then we had relay races. I was third in my group." She continued the story. He listened. The phone probably buzzed again after that. He couldn't feel it anymore. The car arrived at 9:55. She left. He sat on the bench alone for 3 minutes, then checked his phone. 3 missed calls, 6 text messages. He read only the first one. Meeting rescheduled to 2 p.m. Didn't read the others. Put the phone away. Tuesday morning, 43 degrees, wind chill lower. He sat on the bench. The pain was immediate. The wooden slats had no give, no cushion. They pressed into his lower spine, right at the L4-L5 junction. The child was talking about a science project, volcanoes, baking soda and vinegar. He pressed his hand against his lower back. 9:58 on his watch. His feet were going numb inside his shoes. Expensive leather, thin soles, no insulation. He flexed his toes. The sensation didn't return. Just a distant tingling, then nothing. At 10:06, he adjusted his position, shifted his weight left. The pain moved, but didn't decrease. His hands were cold. He tucked them under his arms for warmth, realized this position looked closed off, made him seem unavailable. He pulled them out, let them rest on his thighs where the cold could reach them. She was explaining the chemical reaction, how the gas builds up, creates pressure. He started counting passing cars as a distraction from the pain. A red sedan, a blue truck, a white van. He got to 23, lost count when she asked a question, started over. At 10:14, he stood briefly, stretched his back, felt the vertebrae separate slightly, sat back down. The relief lasted 40 seconds. "Are you okay?" "Fine." His back spasmed at 10:19, a sharp, hot point of pain. He went completely still. 5 seconds without moving, without breathing normally. Then it passed to a dull ache. At 10:21, he shifted position one more time. Gave up trying to find comfort. Just sat with the pain. The car arrived at 10:25. He stood slowly. The stiffness was visible. His movements were careful, controlled. The child noticed, but didn't ask again. Thursday, she brought 2 cookies and a napkin. "For you." She placed one on the bench between them. Didn't wait for him to take it. Just continued talking about something else. A book she was reading. He looked at the cookie. Didn't touch it immediately. She ate hers while talking, not watching him. After 30 seconds, he picked it up. Store-bought, slightly stale. They ate in silence. 42 seconds without speaking, just chewing, the sound of wind, a car passing. Crumbs fell on the bench. She brushed them off when she finished. Small, careful movements of her hand. She didn't wipe randomly. She gathered the crumbs deliberately, deposited them on the ground. He watched her do this, noticed the care in the gesture. When she finished, he brushed the remaining crumbs from his side of the bench. Used the same careful motion, not wiping, gathering and depositing. She saw him do this, smiled for about 2 seconds, didn't comment, just resumed talking. The following Tuesday, she sat 1 seat closer when she arrived. Previously, 2 feet apart. Now, 18 inches. He noticed. Didn't adjust his position. Neither did she. "I drew this yesterday." She opened her notebook, leaned toward him to show the drawing. He leaned in to see. They were 12 inches apart now. The drawing showed a house, a tree, a car parked in front. "What kind of tree is that?" She looked at him, a half-second of surprise in her expression. He'd asked a question, a specific question about a detail. "Oak. Grandfather said we have 3 kinds in our neighborhood, but ours is oak." She turned the page, showed him 2 more drawings, explained each one. He didn't pull back between drawings. Maintained the 12-inch distance while she talked. She closed the notebook, returned to normal sitting position. The distance remained 18 inches. Neither of them moved farther apart. They sat in silence for 3 minutes, no talking, just sitting. Traffic sounds, wind in the trees behind them, a door opening as someone entered the nursing home. The car arrived. She left. He remained sitting, conscious of the space she'd occupied. The bench felt different on that side now, like the absence had weight. He returned to his office 2 hours late. Michael was at his desk when he arrived. They understood about the meeting. He nodded. Didn't ask what excuse Michael had given. Didn't want to know. Someone was covering for him. He was letting them. Chapter 5. She had her school project on poster board. Colors bright under the morning sun. The assignment is about neighborhoods. I interviewed 3 people. She showed him. Drawings. Photographs glued on. Handwritten interview notes in the margins. He looked at it carefully. Actually examined it. Didn't just glance and nod. The colors work well together. She looked surprised. He had an opinion, a specific one. What will you present about? She explained. The history of the street, how long people had lived there, what changed over time. Did you interview neighbors? Yes. Mrs. Chen, Mr. Rodriguez, and the mailman. What did they say? She showed him the notes. He read them. Took time. Didn't skim. You could add what they said here. He pointed to a blank space. Direct quotes. Makes it more real. She considered this. Nodded. Made a note in her notebook. They reviewed the project together for 12 minutes. She explained her process. He asked questions. She answered. Her mother arrived, and she carefully rolled the poster to avoid bending it. Tuesday, 9:40 to 10:18. 38 minutes that felt longer. When grandfather's less busy, we're going to the place with the pond, and she described it in specific detail. The stone bridge over the water. How old it is exactly. 300 years. The red flowers that grow near the path. She knew their name yesterday, but forgot it now. We'll see the gazebo. It's wooden. White paint, but some of it's peeling. Grandfather said we could bring lunch. Sit there and eat. Future tense. We'll see. We'll bring. He'll show me. His hands gripped the bench edge. The wood pressed into his palms. There's a duck nest. I'll show him where it is. In my favorite tree. It's huge. Grandfather said I could climb it if he helps. She listed everything she would show him. The bench where people feed birds. The greenhouse with winter flowers. The path that circles the pond twice. He said maybe in spring, when the weather's nice. We'll spend the whole day there. And she touched her backpack strap while talking. A rhythmic motion. Touch, release. Touch, release. At 10:02, his knuckles were white against the wood. The grip was unconscious, automatic. I'll bring my camera. Take pictures. Grandfather can help me label them after. 10:05. He opened his mouth. No sound came out. Closed his mouth. She didn't notice. Kept talking. Silence began at 10:06. 23 seconds of it. During the silence, 6 cars passed. She counted them absently under her breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wind filled the pause. A leaf skittered across the parking lot. The automatic door of the nursing home opened, closed. No one entering or exiting. At 10:06:23, she resumed talking. Different subject, her homework, math problems. The silence ended as abruptly as it began. His grip loosened slowly. Blood returned to his knuckles. The white faded to normal color. She mentioned her grandfather again at 10:11. He's really good at math. Better than my teacher. What story do you want to tell today? She looked at him. The subject change registered. She accepted it without questioning. Began a different story. One about the school fair, the games, the prizes. They sat until 10:18. When her mother arrived, he stood. His back was stiff. His hands were cold. His throat hurt from not speaking during those 23 seconds. Thursday she drew silently, pencil scratching against paper. 4 minutes passed with only that sound. What are you drawing? She looked up, surprised again. He rarely spoke first. Bird, on a branch. She showed him. The bird was detailed. Small pencil marks showing feathers. What kind of bird? Cardinal, red with black around the face. The females are brown, but males are red. Have you seen one? Yes, near my house. 3 of them, 2 females and a male. He nodded. She returned to drawing. Can you show me the place sometime? She stopped drawing, looked at him. 3 seconds of silence. It's on my way to school. He nodded. She resumed drawing, a small smile on her face. Brief, maybe 2 seconds, then just focused on the pencil moving across paper. They sat in silence for 8 minutes. Comfortable silence this time, not the heavy silence from Tuesday. Just quiet. He watched her draw. She drew without self-consciousness. Her mother's car pulled into the parking lot at 9:55 on the following Tuesday. The child gathered her belongings, stood with her backpack on. Tomorrow? He nodded. Okay. She left. Her mother glanced at him through the windshield. He nodded slightly to her. She nodded back. Not quite approval, just acknowledgement. The car left. He remained on the bench for 3 minutes. Watched the car exit the parking lot, turn onto the street, disappear, stood, walked to his car. The driver opened the door without speaking, pulled into traffic. The driver didn't ask about the office. Didn't ask anything. During the drive, He felt it, the recognition sitting in his chest, heavy. Unchanged by breathing, by looking out the window, by counting buildings, he would return tomorrow. He knew it, without deciding it. The knowing and the returning were the same thing. Chapter 6, Light Rain at 9:42. She was already talking when it started. Something about a field trip next month. She had the small umbrella, cartoon characters on the nylon. She didn't open it immediately, just let the rain fall on them. Light drops, not enough to stop for. At 9:44, the rain increased, steady now. She opened the umbrella, held it over herself. He remained in the rain, his coat getting wet, shoulders, then sleeves. At 9:45, without speaking, without looking at him, she shifted the umbrella 6 inches left. This covered both of them, required her to move 6 inches closer to him. She did it as casually as adjusting her backpack. He didn't refuse, shifted toward the coverage. They were 8 inches apart now. The rain drummed on the nylon above them, a steady rhythm. The sound made a private space. The parking lot was still there, the nursing home, the street. But the rain made a boundary. Inside the umbrella was different from outside it. She continued talking. Her voice was slightly quieter now, not whispering, just adjusted to the smaller space. He listened. Their breath was visible in the cold air. 2 small clouds mixing between them. The heat generated from 2 people under a small umbrella. The air warmer, closer. He could smell her shampoo, something fruity, children's shampoo. His coat was wet where the umbrella didn't reach. His left shoulder, his shoes, the bottom 6 inches of his pants. Rain continued. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. She kept talking. The story continued like the rain hadn't changed anything, but the proximity had. They were breathing each other's air now. The nursing home door opened. A staff member stood there, looked at them under the umbrella, stood for a few seconds, went back inside. At 9:51, the rain lessened. Still falling but lighter, they remained under the umbrella. Neither suggested putting it away. She pointed at something across the street. A sign. He leaned to see what she meant. She tilted the umbrella to keep them both covered during the movement. Their shoulders almost touched. Physical coordination required. She pointed, he leaned. She adjusted the angle. They stayed dry. At 9:58, the rain stopped. Completely. The drumming on the nylon stopped mid-beat. Silence rushed in. She didn't close the umbrella immediately. They sat under it. The parking lot was quiet. The rain had cleaned the air. Everything smelled like wet concrete. After 30 seconds, she collapsed the umbrella. The sound of wet nylon folding. The private space disappeared. They could see the whole parking lot again. The nursing home. The trees. The world returned. They moved apart slightly. Not to the original distance. 8 inches became 12. 12 was the new baseline. Neither of them moved farther. The nursing home door opened. The receptionist stood in the doorway, looked at them, both still slightly wet from the rain. "Are you family?" 5 seconds passed. The child looked at him, waiting. He could feel the weight of the question, the space where an answer should be. "I'm waiting for someone." The receptionist looked at the child, back at him. Something shifted in her expression, not disapproval, assessment. "Lobby's warm if you need it." She propped the door open with the doorstop, remained standing there, waiting. "Should we go in?" He looked at the child. "Up to you." "Okay." She stood, walked toward the door. He followed, not leading, following her decision. The receptionist stepped aside. They entered. The lobby was warm, fluorescent lights, the smell of industrial soap, heating system creating a current of air. They sat in chairs, near the door, not deep inside the building, just inside the threshold. He kept his coat on, despite the warmth. She kept the umbrella in her lap. It dripped onto the floor, a small pool forming. A staff member approached with 2 cups of water, placed them on the small table between the chairs, unrequested. "Thank you." He nodded. The staff member returned to the desk, glanced at them twice in 3 minutes. They sat in silence. 8 minutes of it. Unusual. She usually talked. But the lobby changed something. The public space. The fluorescent lights. The way staff members kept glancing over. Lobby sounds filled the quiet. A phone ringing. Wheelchair wheels on linoleum. The elevator dinging. An old woman walked past, looked at them, nodded at the child. The child waved. At 10:18, she resumed talking. The relief was visible. Things returning to normal. She described a school assembly. Who spoke? What the principal said. At 10:25, her mother entered the lobby. Saw them sitting together in chairs, meant for visitors. Approached, paused 2 feet away. "Thank you for waiting with her." He didn't correct the assumption. Waiting with her. Not both waiting separately. With her, together. The words created a relationship. He didn't deny it, just nodded. The mother waited for more. He had nothing more. "Come on, sweetie." The child gathered her things. Her mother looked at him again. "Will you be here next time?" 3 seconds. The question hung. Next time assumed a pattern. He could break it by saying no. He could break it by not answering. Yes. Her mother nodded. They left. He remained in the lobby chair. 2 more minutes, alone under fluorescent lights. Staff watching from the desk. He stood, walked out. The driver was waiting. Opened the door. He got in. Same time Thursday? He said yes before thinking. The word came out automatically. Then he heard it, realized what he'd agreed to, a verbal commitment to the pattern. Not just returning, promising to return. He didn't take it back. The driver pulled into traffic. They drove in silence. He looked out the window. The city passed. Buildings, people, traffic. The promise sat in his chest. Same size as the recognition from last week. Same weight. He would be there Thursday, and next Tuesday, and the following Thursday. He knew this now. The knowing was final. Chapter 7. He arrived at 9:25. The bench was empty. He sat down, checked his watch. 9:26. She wasn't early. He was. Morning sounds were different at this time. Less traffic. Birds louder without car noise drowning them. He could hear conversations from inside the nursing home. Fragments through the walls. He watched the entrance. Elderly people arriving. A woman with a walker. 2 men together, a nurse in scrubs. He counted them. 4 entered, 2 exited. The automatic door opened and closed. The sound was rhythmic. His watch showed 9:32. He checked it. Checked it again at 9:34. She wasn't late. He was early. But the waiting felt different. Anticipation without acknowledging it as such. At 9:38, he saw the school bus stop 2 blocks away. Yellow against gray pavement. Children got off. He recognized her backpack before he saw her face. The same cartoon character as the umbrella. She walked toward the bench, arrived at 9:42. Not surprised he was there. Sat down. Hi. First time she'd said that. A greeting. Acknowledging a beginning instead of continuing mid-thought. Hi. First time he'd said it back. She began talking. Field trip permission slip. Her teacher. The zoo next month if enough parents volunteer. She sat immediately beside him when she arrived next time. No gradual approach. No gap. 4 inches between them. Direct choice. So the assignment is mid-thought, like they'd paused yesterday and were resuming now. No setup, no context, just continuing. He'd become part of a continuous narrative in her mind, not separate visits. 1 long conversation with pauses. She explained homework. He asked a clarifying question. She smiled. 2 seconds, then continued explaining. The sun came out from clouds, a square of warmth on their faces. Both turned toward it at the same time. Parallel response. 30 seconds with eyes closed, faces tilted up. Neither speaking. She resumed talking. The sun stayed out. Her mother's car arrived at 9:55, early today. I want to show you something. Thursday, 9:40. She pulled his hands toward her, positioned them palm to palm, her small hands on his. He saw his watch. Expensive. Polished metal. His nails manicured, clean. Her hands were rough, slightly dirty. Fingernails uneven. It's a clapping game. Watch. She demonstrated a pattern. Clap, clap, tap, tap, clap, rhythmic, complex. Try it. He hesitated. She waited. He attempted the pattern. Wrong rhythm. The claps didn't land right. Like this. She demonstrated again. Slower. He tried. Wrong again. She corrected without judgment. Almost. Third attempt. Closer but not right. 4th attempt. Wrong in a different way. He showed frustration. Tension in his shoulders. It's okay. It took me a week. 5th attempt. Very close. She smiled. Yes. Again. 6th attempt. Wrong. His hands fell to his lap. 7th attempt. She encouraged him. 8th attempt. The rhythm clicked. Correct. Good. He stopped abruptly, sat very still for 3 seconds. His face showed something unfamiliar. Being praised, being a student, being bad at something, then succeeding. The sensation was strange. Want to try again? Maybe later. They sat in silence. 4 minutes. His hands rested on the bench. His fingers tapped unconsciously. The rhythm from the game. Tap, tap, clap, clap. He didn't notice he was doing it. She noticed. Didn't comment. Just saw his hands remembering. A different nurse exited the building on Tuesday. Older, gray hair. She stood 6 feet from the bench. Waited for the child to finish her sentence. Respect for the conversation. The child finished talking about a book. The nurse spoke. She waits for you now, you know. Directed at him, not the child. Direct eye contact, pause. Not just her grandfather. He didn't respond. The child looked confused. Just wanted you to know she talks about you. Pause. To the other kids. She looked at the child. About the benchman who knows Italian. The child's expression showed surprise. She didn't know the nurse heard her stories. The nurse looked back at him. He still hadn't spoken. Anyway, just thought you should know. She returned inside. The door closed. Silence. What did she mean? What book were you telling me about? She accepted the deflection, resumed the book description. But something had shifted. The nurse had said it out loud, the thing they hadn't named. She waits for you, not with you, for you. They sat until her mother arrived at 10:08. Her mother got out of the car. The child stood, gathered her backpack. She turned to him. Different phrasing this time. You'll be here tomorrow? Not tomorrow? Not assuming. Asking, requiring a direct answer. Yes, not a nod, not okay, the word yes spoken aloud. An explicit promise about the future. Okay. She left, satisfied with the answer. He walked to his car, got in, sat in silence during the drive, touched his phone, didn't unlock it, the screen stayed dark. They arrived at the office. He sat in the car for 30 seconds before exiting. Michael was in the lobby. Again, always there when he returned late. He walked past, entered the elevator. That night, he opened his laptop, searched the nursing home's database through official channels. Michael helped without asking why. Found the grandfather's information, name, address, phone number. He stared at the phone number for 4 minutes. The numbers on the screen, 10 digits. One call could change everything, could bring the grandfather back, could fix this. He closed the file without calling. The phone number disappeared from the screen. The promise of fixing disappeared with it. Calling would be rescue. Showing up was something else. He didn't have words for what it was, but he knew it wasn't the same thing. Chapter 8. The bench, 9:40. Normal routine. But 10 o'clock passed, without her mother arriving. Mom's usually here by now. We can wait. 10:15 passed. The child checked her watch, small worried movements, glancing at the parking lot entrance. She's probably in traffic. 10:30. The child was quiet now, not talking, just sitting, hands gripping her backpack straps. Should I call someone? Mom will come. Mom will come. 10:45. The worry was visible. She counted cars entering the parking lot. None were her mother's. At 10:48, the car arrived. Fast. The mother got out quickly, frazzled, hair messy, expression stressed. I'm so sorry, work emergency. Traffic was... She saw him still sitting with the child, stopped mid-apology, approached the bench. How long have you been waiting? He stood. Not long. Mom, this is the bench man. Her mother looked at him. Really looked. Assessment happening, safety check, threat evaluation. Thank you for staying. Pause. I'm Sarah. He gave his first name. First time in all these weeks. Names finally exchanged. How long has this been going on? Few weeks. She talks about you. Pause. Sarah watched his face. She calls you the bench man. She studied him, the expensive coat, the watch, the fact that he was here, waiting with her daughter for over an hour. Why do you come here? 4 seconds of silence, cars passing, the nursing home door opening. I don't know. Sarah processed this. Honest answer, not the answer she expected. You don't have to. I mean, you can, but I know. She evaluated this response, his face, his posture. Something in her expression changed. A decision made. Not shown explicitly, just a subtle shift. Thank you. Really? She collected her daughter. Say goodbye. Bye? Tomorrow? Tomorrow. They left. He sat back down on the bench. Alone now. 3 minutes of sitting with the conversation echoing. Sarah's question. Why do you come here? His answer. I don't know. But he did know, or his body knew. His schedule knew, his driver knew, everyone except his conscious mind. He stood, left. Next Tuesday, he brought a newspaper in a thermos. Store-bought, not expensive. Regular convenience store hot chocolate in a basic thermos. She arrived, noticed immediately. What's that? You said you were cold. He placed the thermos on the bench. For me? Yes. She stared at it, picked it up carefully, opened it. Steam rose. The smell was sweet. Hot chocolate. She looked at him. Confusion in her expression. Why? You were cold. But... She didn't finish. Drank from the thermos. He pulled a second cup from his pocket. Disposable. From the same convenience store. Poured some for himself. You bought two? Yes. She understood then. He'd planned this. Not spontaneous. He thought about her being cold. Bought hot chocolate. Bought 2 cups. One for her, one for him. Planning. Care. Forethought. She went very quiet. Drank slowly. They sat in silence for 6 minutes. She didn't resume her usual talking. The silence was different. Heavy. Full of the unspoken thing the nurse named last week. Finally. Thank you. You're welcome. She started talking again. But different subject. Something immediate. A bird on a nearby branch. Not her usual stories. Shorter conversation. When her mother arrived, she held the thermos carefully. Protected it. Time passed differently after that. Weeks compressed into seasons. Evidence of passage, showing in details. The trees behind the bench changed. Green leaves became yellow, yellow became red, red became brown. Brown fell, eventually the branches were bare. Black lines against gray sky. His coat changed. Light jacket in the earlier weeks, now a heavy winter coat, appropriate for the weather. Evidence of planning, evidence of expecting to be outside for extended periods. She was taller. Needed a new backpack. The old one didn't fit right anymore. Her jacket sleeves were too short, growing. Their position on the bench never changed anymore. Always adjacent, no distance, no measurement needed. It was simply where they sat. The child hadn't mentioned her grandfather in 3 weeks. The stories about the botanical garden stopped. The future tense stopped. She talked about school, about homework, about books, present tense, immediate things. She referred to the bench as our spot when telling her mother where she'd be after school. I'll be at our spot. Not the bench, not waiting. Our spot. Possession, belonging. Her mother nodded during pickups, routine acknowledgement. The initial assessment was over. He'd been deemed safe. The nods meant acceptance. Nursing home staff no longer watched. They'd been incorporated into the landscape. Part of the daily routine. The receptionist waved when he arrived. Small gesture, recognition. One specific Tuesday, the child said, "This is our spot." He didn't correct our, didn't clarify. Just accepted the word. She showed him a drawing. 2 figures on a bench, no faces, just shapes. 2 people sitting. He looked at it for a long time, 40 seconds, didn't comment. She put it away carefully. Another Thursday, Sarah said to him, "Thank you for being consistent." He nodded. "That matters." She left with the child. The words stayed. Consistent. That matters. More than money, more than fixing, consistency. The final day of this sequence, they sat in silence, watching people enter and exit the nursing home. She leaned against his arm slightly, unconscious. Just a small pressure. He didn't move away. They remained like that. 4 minutes. Sarah arrived. The child stood. "See you Thursday." Thursday. Confirmation. Pattern. Future. Continuing. That night, he realized he didn't know her last name. 9 weeks. 63 meetings. He knew her grandfather's phone number, but not her last name. He didn't ask Michael to find it. Deliberately chose not to know. The not knowing was protection. Knowing would make this something else. Something with legal implications, social responsibility, definitions. This existed in the space between stranger and family, the space without a name. It was safer there. Chapter 9. Late December, early January, months after the umbrella. Deep winter now. The temperature was below freezing. His breath was visible. Clouds forming with each exhale. Hers too. Small clouds from a small person. She wore a winter hat, mittens. Her jacket was new, or newer. Less worn than before. The nursing home had holiday decorations in the windows, fake snow, colored lights. She was noticeably taller, several months of growth visible. The backpack that was too small in November was replaced in December. The routine was unchanged. Same bench, same times, same positions, adjacent. No gap, no measurement. "It's really cold." "Yes." They both shivered slightly. His coat was thick, but the cold reached through. The bench was metal and wood. The cold transferred through the materials, through his pants, into his legs. "But we can stay?" "Up to you." "Okay." They stayed. 12 more minutes in the cold. Their breath mixing in the air between them, both watching it dissipate. Small clouds disappearing into cold air. Sarah arrived, looked at them sitting in below freezing weather, shook her head. Not disapproval, bemusement, something like affection. They were ridiculous. 2 people choosing to sit in the cold when warmth was available. But they were consistent in their ridiculousness. The following week, he brought a book. Used. Worn edges. Someone else's name crossed out on the first page. The book she'd mentioned once, weeks ago, casual mention in a longer story. "You mentioned this book." He handed it to her. She stared at it, opened to the first page, saw the crossed out name, used. He bought a used copy, thought about cost or thought about authenticity. Hard to tell which. "You remembered." He didn't respond. "When did I say this?" "Few weeks ago." She flipped through the pages carefully, touched them like they mattered. "Why did you buy it?" He didn't answer. The question sat between them. She didn't push. Just held the book in her lap, didn't read it. Too cold for holding pages. Just held it. The weight of it. The thought behind it. Silence. 8 minutes. Longer than usual. Both sitting with the weight of the gift. What it meant. What it couldn't mean. She finally spoke. But not about the book. About a bird on a nearby branch. Immediate. Present. Safe subject. The conversation was shorter than normal. Both aware of something hovering. Unspoken. Heavy. Sarah arrived. The child showed her the book. Sarah looked at him. He looked away. They left. He sat alone with the knowledge that he'd remembered a specific book she mentioned once. In passing, weeks ago, memory meant attention. Attention meant care. Care meant something he wouldn't name. The following week, 9:40 to 9:58, 18 minutes. Normal beginning, normal positions, normal routine. She talked about school, then stopped mid-sentence. Grandfather never came. Factual. No emotion in the statement, just information. A thing that was true. I'm sorry. It's okay. I have the bench. Not I have you. The bench, the place, the routine. Not him specifically. The ritual itself, he didn't correct this. Didn't say you have me or I'm here or anything that would name the relationship. Just accepted her wording. The bench. Neutral. Safe. They sat. Watched the nursing home entrance. People entering and exiting. Rhythm of life continuing around them. 9:43. Elderly woman with walker, moving slowly. 9:46. Two nurses, shift change, talking about schedules. 9:49. Man visiting, carrying flowers, looking nervous. 9:52. Resident returning from appointment, doctor's orders in hand. The door opened and closed. Life continuing, patterns repeating, people coming and going while they sat. Do you think people wonder about us? Maybe. What do you think they think? I don't know. She accepted this. The not knowing, the mystery of how they appeared to others. Two people on a bench. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, no explanation visible. Silence for 4 minutes, just sitting, watching, being there. Sarah arrived. The child gathered her things. Same time? Same time. She left. He remained on the bench, continued watching the entrance. Two more people entered, one exited. The pattern continued without them. He sat alone for 3 minutes, then stood, walked to his car. The driver was waiting. They left. The bench was empty. The camera stayed on it. Held the image. 15 seconds of empty bench. Cold day. Nursing home behind it. Trees bare. The space they occupied now vacant. The door opened. Someone exited. The door closed. The bench remained empty. Traffic sounds. Wind in the bare branches. Life continuing. No resolution came. No grandfather appeared. No legal arrangement formed. No family definition emerged. Nothing concluded. Just the bench. Just the pattern. Just the promise. Same time. The story ended, but the routine continued. Somewhere off camera, beyond the frame, two people would return. The bench would be occupied again. The pattern would repeat. The end provided no answers. Just evidence of continuation. Just the weight of consistency. Just the truth that some things don't conclude. They simply continue. Same time, same time, same time.